Welcome back, guys, to the channel. I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and unfortunately, I don't come to you in good news. It's been a minute since I've done a video. I've been going through a lot. Mainly, my asthma has really acted up, so that's why you guys haven't seen me, but I'm glad you're back. Unfortunately, Cam Akers will not be back this season. He is out for the rest of the year with a torn Achilles, according to Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network. Adam Schefter has also reported that the Rams intend to stay pat with who they have. They're not planning on going out and getting anybody at this moment, but that could change. So let's get into it. Who's going to take over? You have to imagine it's going to be Darrell Henderson, and to be honest with you, that's not a bad thing. Darrell Henderson was arguably the better back last year, having 624 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns, including 783 total yards and 6 total touchdowns. Didn't fumble last year, was highly productive in pass protection, and they really tried to force feed Cam Akers the rock. In turn, he ended up getting 7 more touches than, actually 2 more touches than Darrell Henderson, 7 more carries. Henderson looked really good in a certain few games. And the reason for this is because his carries were inconsistent. He never truly had a consistent run. You look at the Bills game going over 100 yards. You look at the 49ers game going over 80 yards. You look at the Seattle game at the end of the season when he suffered the ankle injury that I believe is still he's recovering from. So that's obviously something that's not ideal. But Henderson has been a guy that can come in and give you yards either after the catch. He can create yards. He's elusive. This is somebody that broke more tackles than any running back on that roster last year. Whether you believe it or not, he broke 8 tackles in 2020. So Henderson comes to you, and I think he's a top 12 fantasy running back. So you fantasy fans out there that may be doing drafts early, may have selected Cam Akers early on, make sure you get Darrell Henderson. I think he's going to be a top 12 fantasy back for sure. And I think the thing is, it's different. So I understand why people think, the season's over, or, it's just like, it looks bad, right? You never like to lose a very promising running back in Cam Akers, but here's the fact, okay? Cam Akers is a very good running back, but that was a luxury pick. The Rams easily could have rolled with Darrell Henderson, and to be honest with you, if they do it this year and he goes off this year, it's going to put Akers in a weird situation, and I kind of feel like that's where we're going here. Don't get me wrong, the Rams really do like Cam Akers, but the fact that they're not going out and immediately going after an Adrian Peterson or even Todd Gurley to bring him back for a reunion, that tells me something, which, by the way, both of them would have led the team in rushing last year, and both of them would have led the team in rushing touchdowns last year. But here's the fact. The fact is, Darrell Henderson is a third-round pick in his own right from 2019. You may have forgotten about him, but the Rams did not. And so the Rams plan on using him, a guy that obviously showed you he can work in pass pro, he can work in the receiving game, and he can work as a runner. He creates yards, he can make all the plays that you really need him to, and this is a guy that averaged over 8 yards per carry at Memphis, so this isn't just a random guy. On top of that, they really like Xavier Jones. This is what it's also telling you. Xavier Jones is a UDFA out of SMU, suffered an injury in his career, had an incredible career, the leading rusher for SMU. He's a guy that, had he come out last year, had he been in last year's draft, or rather this year's draft, and not last year's draft, he would have been drafted. He unfortunately suffered from the fact there was no pre-draft process to speak of, and so he wasn't really able to get his name out there. But this is a very talented back in his own right. Spent all year on the 53-man roster. They were 3 deep, so they didn't need him. But Snead mentions him by name. Sean McVay has. Aaron Donald. They like this kid a lot. Don't be surprised if he has a significant role moving forward. And then, of course, you have guys like Raymond Calais, a former 7th-round pick by Tampa Bay last season. People ask, why didn't he get involved? Well, here's the fact. The fact is he missed all of the Rams training camp. He didn't really get involved with the offense. And pretty much what he ended up being was a return specialist. And it took him a while to get going in that department. So they added Otis Anderson, UDFA out of UCF. And they have Jake Funk, who they drafted in the 7th round as well, a special teamer that offers some upside, a little upside, as a running back. So what's going to happen here? Well, you're going to get the bulk of the carries from Henderson, but why am I not concerned? Why am I not running around in circles panicking like some people probably are? This is the reason, guys. I'm going to take you down off that ledge. I'm going to explain to you that Cam Akers was not the best running back with the Rams last year. Recency bias has affected people to believe that he is so much more than Darrell Henderson, and that's just not true. He had a very, very good end of the season. You saw the Patriots game go over 170 yards. You look at what he did in the playoffs. Henderson was out. But if you look, when guys got the carries, they produced. Malcolm Brown, when he got the carries, he produced. When you look at Darrell Henderson, when he got the carries, they produced. When you look at Cam Akers, when he got the bulk of the carries, he produced. So this offensive line, first off, that's telling you this offensive line isn't as bad as what people want you to think. And secondly, they had 3 talented running backs. Not one had to be that much better than the other because they all were on an even playing field. I mean, just look. Malcolm Brown, 419 rushing yards, 4.1 yards per carry. 625 yards from Cam Akers. That was 4.3 yards per carry. And last year, 624 yards, just 1 yard shy of Cam Akers, was Darrell Henderson, and he had 4.5 yards per carry. So what I'm telling you is this. That is just last year with the offensive line and a very stagnant passing attack. But now you have Matthew Stafford. In steps Deshaun Jackson, who can stretch the field. You have Tutu Atwell, who could also stretch the field. You added Jacob Harris. You have these new guys that are going to add new wrinkles to this offense. But more importantly, you have Stafford, who changes the game because he's incredibly intelligent. He's going to manipulate defenses, and he's such a hard quarterback to game plan against. This isn't Jared Goff anymore. This is Matthew Stafford. And the fact of the matter is, Matthew Stafford is going to help everyone around him. But when you look, he is absolutely going to help the run game. And the run game you can expect to really blow up, regardless if it's Xavier Jones, if it's Darrell Henderson, or what have you. That's not a knock on any of them. But more so, it is a sign that Darrell Henderson, if he gets these carries, which I believe he will, with everything around him, he has a chance to blow up this season. This isn't me being a fan, me being a homer, and telling you good things that you want to hear. This is me being honest with you. When you put together a passing attack that leaves your defense guessing, it's really hard, and you cannot stack that box like seasons past to stop the run. And hate to break it to you, to any defense trying to stop this team, and thinking today that you had a small victory by having a playoff team, a Super Bowl contender, lose their number 1 running back, Darrell Henderson is pretty damn good, and he's coming for you this year. So, you know, all in all, it's a shame. I really do feel for Cam Akers. He's a guy I like a lot. I own his jersey. I'm a big fan of his. But I'm also a big fan of Darrell Henderson, and you guys are about to see why this season. Now, initially in my projections, I was wondering kind of what role he would fit in. And so I kind of looked at him as a James White. I felt like they were going to kind of have 2 starting running backs in a sense and use James White the way, you know, the Patriots do and, you know, all of that. But now Henderson can take over as the bell cow because one thing that Henderson possesses that Cam Akers struggled is pass protection. He was one of the best in pass protection according to PFF last season, and that is going to be something that keeps him on the field, and it's going to be something that keeps the Rams relying on him moving forward. So that's my video. You are not done yet. Darrell Henderson, Xavier Jones, Jake Funk, Raymond Calais, Otis Anderson. Who knows, maybe down the line you get a Todd Gurley back or you get Adrian Peterson. Regardless, they are fine at running back. Remember I said that? You can go back to this video. You can show all your friends. Don't complain. Don't cry. Don't sob. Don't do any of that. The Rams are fine. They're still my favorites to win the Super Bowl. And while it sucks to lose Cam Akers, I don't expect this offense to miss a beat. So as bad as maybe that sounds, that's just how confident I am in what Matthew Stafford truly brings to the table and how good Darrell Henderson truly was all this time. That's going to do it for me. You guys take care and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Later.